हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। तो आज के वीडियो में हम देखने वाले हैं एनसीईआरटी क्लास 9 ज्योग्राफी, जिसमें आज हम देखेंगे चैप्टर 6 जो कि है पॉपुलेशन। तो शुरू करते हैं हमारा आज का चैप्टर। कैन यू इमेजिन ए वर्ल्ड विदाउट ह्यूमन बींग्स हु वुड हैव यूटिलाइज्ड द रिसोर्सेज एंड क्रिएटेड सोशल एंड कल्चरल एनवायरनमेंट? द पीपल आर इम्पोर्टेंट टू डेवलप द इकोनॉमी एंड द सोसाइटी. The people make use resources and are themselves resources with varying quality. Coal is but a piece of rock until people were able to invent technology to obtain it and make it resource. Natural events like a flood or a tsunami becomes a disaster only when they affect a crowding village or a town. Hence, population is the pivotal element in social studies. It is the point of reference from which all other elements are observed and from which they derive significance and meaning. Resources, calamities, and disaster are all meaningful only in relation to human beings. Their numbers, distribution, growth, and characteristic or qualities provide the basic background for understanding and appreciating all aspects of the environment. Human beings are producers and consumers of Earth's resources. Therefore, it is important to know how many people are there in a country, where do they live, how and why their numbers are increasing, and what are their characteristics. The Census of India provides us with information regarding the population of our country. Census. A census is an official enumeration of population done periodically. In India, the first census was held in the year 1872. The first complete census, however, was taken in the year 1881. Since then, censuses have been held regularly every 10th year. The Indian census is the most comprehensive source of demographic, social, and economic data. Have you ever seen a census report? Check in a library if it has one. We are primarily concerned with three major questions about population: population size and distribution. How many people are there and where are they located? Population growth and processes of population change. How has the population grown and changed through time? Characteristics or qualities of the population. What are their age, sex, composition, literacy levels, occupational structure, and health conditions? Population size and distribution. India's population size and distribution by numbers. India's population as on March 2011 stood at 1,210.6 million, which account for 17.5% of the world's population. These 1.21 billion people are unevenly distributed over our country's vast area of 3.28 million square kilometers, which accounts for 2.4% of the world's area. The 2011 census data revealed that Uttar Pradesh, with a population size of 199 million, is the most populous state of India. Uttar Pradesh accounts for about 16% of the country's population. On the other hand, the Himalayan state of Sikkim has a population of just 0.6 million, and Lakshadweep has only 64,429 people. Almost half of India's population lives in just 5 states. These are Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, and Andhra Pradesh. Rajasthan, the biggest state in terms of area, has only 5.5% of the total population in India. India's population distribution by density. Population density provides a better picture of the uneven distribution. Population density is calculated as the number of persons per unit area. India is one of the most densely populated countries of the world. Do you know only Bangladesh and Japan have higher average population densities than India? Find out the population density of Bangladesh and Japan. The population density of India in the year 2011 was 382 persons per square kilometer. Densities vary from 1,102 persons per square kilometer in Bihar to only 17 persons per square kilometer in Arunachal Pradesh. A study of the figure 6.3 shows the pattern of uneven distribution of population densities at the state level. Note, the states with population density below 250 persons per square kilometer, rugged terrain, and unfavorable climatic conditions are primarily responsible for sparse population. In these areas, which states have density below 250 persons per square kilometer? Assam and most of the peninsular states have moderate population densities. Hilly, dissected, and rocky nature of the terrain, moderate to low rainfall, shallow and less fertile soils have influenced population density in these areas. The northern plains and Kerala in the south have high to very high population densities because of the flat plains with fertile soils and abundant rainfall. Identify the three states of the northern plains with high population density. Population growth and processes of population change. Population is a dynamic phenomenon. The numbers, distribution, and composition of the population are constantly changing. This is the influence of the interaction of the three processes, namely births, deaths, and migrations. Population growth. Growth of population refers to the change in the number of inhabitants of a country or territory during a specific period of time, say during the last 10 years. Such a change can be expressed in two ways, in terms of absolute number and in terms of percentage change per year. The absolute numbers added each year or decade is the magnitude of increase. It is obtained by simply subtracting the earlier population, example that of 2001, from the later population, example that of 2011. It is referred to as the absolute increase. The rate or the pace of population increase is the other important aspect. It is studied in percent per annum. Example, a rate of increase of 2% per annum means that in a given year there was an increase of 2 persons for every 100 persons in the base population. This is referred to as the annual growth rate. India's population has been steadily increasing from 361 million in 1951 to 1210 million in 2011. Table 6.1 and figures 6.4a and 6.4b reveal that from 1951 to 1981, the annual rate of population growth was steadily increasing, which explains the rapid increase in population from 361 million in 1951 to 683 million in 1981. Since 1981, however, the rate of growth started declining gradually. During this period, birth rates declined rapidly. Still, 182 million people were added to the total population in the 1990s alone, an annual addition larger than ever before. It is essential to realize that India has a very large population. When a low annual rate is applied to a very large population, it yields a large absolute increase. When more than a billion people increase even at a lower rate, the total number being added becomes very large. India's annual increase in population is large enough to neutralize efforts to conserve the resource, endowment, and environment. The declining trend of the growth rate is indeed a positive indicator of the efforts of birth control. Despite that, the total additions to the population base continue to grow, and India may overtake China in 2045 to become the most populous country in the world. Processes of population change or growth. There are three main processes of change of population: birth rates, death rates, and migration. The natural increase of population is the difference between birth rates and death rates. Birth rate is the number of live births per 1,000 persons in a year. It is a major component of growth because in India, birth rates have always been higher than death rates. Death rate is the number of deaths per 1,000 persons in a year. The main cause of the rate of growth of the Indian population has been the rapid decline in death rates. Till 1980, high birth rates and declining death rates led to a large difference between birth rates and death rates, resulting in higher rates of population growth. Since 1981, birth rates have also started declining gradually, resulting in a gradual decline in the rate of population growth. What are the reasons for this trend? The third component of population growth is migration. Migration is the movement of people across regions and territories. Migration can be internal within the country or international between the countries. Internal migration does not change the size of the population but influences the distribution of population within the nation. Migration plays a very significant role in changing the composition and distribution of population. In India, most migration have been from rural to urban areas because of the post factor in rural areas. These are adverse conditions of poverty and unemployment in the rural areas and the pull of the city in terms of increased employment opportunities and better living conditions. Migration is an important determinant of population change. It changes not only the population size but also the population composition of urban and rural population in terms of age and sex composition. In India, the rural-urban migration has resulted in a steady increase in the percentage of population in cities and towns. The urban population has increased from 17.29% of the total population in 1951 to 31.80% in 2011. There has been a significant increase in the number of million-plus cities from 35 to 53 in just one decade, that means 2001 to 2011. Age composition. The age composition of a population refers to the number of people in different age groups in a country. It is one of the most basic characteristics of a population. To an important degree, a person's age influences what he or she needs, buys, does, and his or her capacity to perform. Consequently, the number and percentage of a population found within the children, working age, and age groups are notable determinants of the population's social and economic structure. The population of a nation is generally grouped into three broad categories. Children, generally below 15 years. They are economically unproductive and need to be provided with food, clothing, education, and medical care. Working age 15 to 59 years. They are economically productive and biologically reproductive. They comprise the working population. Aged above 59 years. They can be economically productive though they may have retired. They may be working voluntarily but they are not available for employment through recruitment. The percentage of children and the aged affect the dependency ratio because these groups are not producers. The proportion of the three groups in India's population is already presented in figure 6.5. Sex ratio. Sex ratio is defined as the number of females per 1000 males in the population. This information is an important social indicator to measure the extent of equality between males and females in a society at a given time. The sex ratio in the country has always remained unfavorable to females. Find out why this is so. Table 6.2 shows the sex ratio from 1951 to 2011. Do you know Kerala has a sex ratio of 1084 females per 1000 males. Puducherry has 1038 females for every 1000 males, while Delhi has only 866 females per 1000 males, and Haryana has just 877. Literacy rates. Literacy is a very important quality of a population. Obviously, only an informed and educated citizen can make intelligent choices and undertake research and development projects. Low level of literacy are a serious obstacle for economic development. According to the census 2011, a person aged 7 years and above who can read and write with understanding in any language is treated as literate. There has been a steady improvement in the literacy levels in India. The literacy rate in the country as per the census of 2011 is 73%, 80.9% for males and 64.6% for females. Why do such differences exist? Occupational structure. The percentage of population that is economically active is an important index of development. The distribution of the population according to different types of occupation is referred to as the occupational structure. An enormous variety of occupations are found in any country. Occupations are generally classified as primary, secondary, and tertiary. Primary activities include agriculture, animal husbandry, forestry, fishing, mining, and quarrying, etc. Secondary activities include manufacturing industry, building and construction work, etc. Tertiary activities include transport, communications, commerce, administration, and other services. The proportion of people working in different activities varies in developed and developing countries. Developed nations have a high proportion of people in secondary and tertiary activities. Developing countries tend to have a high proportion of their workforce engaged in primary activities. In India, about 64% of the population is engaged only in agriculture. The proportion of population dependent on secondary and tertiary sector is about 13 and 20% respectively. There has been an occupational shift in favor of secondary and tertiary sectors because of growing industrialization and urbanization in recent times. Health. Health is an important component of population composition, which affects the process of development. Sustained efforts of government programs have registered significant improvements in the health condition of the Indian population. Death rates have declined from 25 per 1,000 population in 1951 to 7.2 per 1,000 in 2011, and life expectancy at birth has increased from 36.7 years in 1951 to 67.9 years in 2012. The substantial improvement is the result of many factors, including improvement in public health, prevention of infectious diseases, and application of modern medical practices in diagnosis and treatment of ailments. Despite considerable achievements, the health situation is a matter of major concern for India. The per capita calorie consumption is much below the recommended levels, and malnutrition afflicts a large percentage of our population. Safe drinking water and basic sanitation amenities are available to only one-third of the rural population. These problems need to be tackled through an appropriate population policy. Adolescent population. The most significant feature of the Indian population is the size of its adolescent population. It constitutes 1/5 of the total population of India. Adolescents are generally grouped in the age group of 10 to 19 years. They are the most important resource for the future. Nutrition requirements of adolescents are higher than those of a normal child or adult. Poor nutrition can lead to deficiency and stunted growth. But in India, the diet available to adolescents is inadequate in all nutrients. A large number of adolescent girls suffer from anemia. Their problems have so far not received adequate attention in the process of development. The adolescent girls have to be sensitized to the problems they confront. Awareness among them can be improved through the spread of literacy and education. National Population Policy. Recognizing that the planning of families would improve individual health and welfare, the Government of India initiated a comprehensive family planning program in 1952. The Family Welfare Program has sought to promote responsible and planned parenthood on a voluntary basis. The National Population Policy (NDP 2000) is a culmination of years of planned efforts. The NPP 2000 provides a policy framework for imparting free and compulsory school education up to 14 years of age, reducing infant mortality rate to below 30 per 1,000 live births, achieving universal immunization of children against all vaccine preventable diseases, promoting delayed marriage for girls, and making family welfare a people-centered program. NPP 2000 and adolescents. NPP 2000 identified adolescents as one of the major sections of the population that need greater attention. Besides nutritional requirements, the policy puts greater emphasis on other important needs of adolescents, including protection from unwanted pregnancies and sexually transmitted diseases. It called for programs that aim towards encouraging delayed marriage and childbearing, education of adolescents about the risk of unprotected sex, making contraceptive services accessible and affordable, providing food supplements, nutritional services, and strengthening legal measures to prevent child marriage. People are the nation's most valuable resource. A well-educated, healthy population provides potential power. तो ये है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज और इसी के साथ हमारा ये चैप्टर कंप्लीट होता है। तो ये हमारा इस बुक का लास्ट चैप्टर था। तो इसी के साथ हमारा क्लास 9 ज्योग्राफी बुक कंप्लीट हो चुका है। तो अगर आप चैनल पर नए हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन आइकन पर क्लिक कर दीजिए ताकि आपको सारे वीडियोस के अपडेट्स मिल सके। और अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो लाइक कर दीजिए और अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर कीजिए ताकि उन्हें भी हेल्प हो सके। सो हमारा आज का सेशन यहीं तक था। थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग।